Hi guys, welcome back. As you can see, we're back indoors again because we are still in lockdown. I know last week I did take you out me to my local area to take some photos, but you saw the GoPro was a little bit wonky, for want of a better phrase. I'm trying to see what was the cause of that and fix it, and if there's somewhere new within my local area that I can take you, I'll head out for another walk and bring you guys along as well. But in anticipation of coming out of lockdown in a few weeks, I thought today what I'll do is I'll share a few photography tips that I've learned over the years that has definitely improved my photography capabilities and what I'm able to capture when I'm out taking photos instead of just hold and click, so to speak. And these aren't in any particular order. I'll just say that what I think is possibly the most important tip, I'll say right for the end, so make sure you stay tuned to not miss out on that. But some of these tips actually are a little bit related. So what I've done is I've grouped them together because I'm hoping that whilst you're thinking of one whilst you're out taking photos, the other one might pop in your head and then you can remember them whilst you're there, and make sure you don't miss out on any particular images that you might want to capture at the same time. The first tip I'd say, and possibly one of the most important ones, is shoot and roll. I say shoot and roll because almost all cameras today can shoot in either JPEG or RAW or both. Some smartphones can even let you shoot in RAW now as well. And when you shoot in RAW, granted the image that comes out of it does look flat compared to the JPEGs that your camera will produce, but you get a lot more flexibility in your editing when you shoot in RAW compared to JPEG. When you shoot in JPEG, you're taking all your camera settings and it's baking all of that into a file based on what the camera manufacturer thinks the JPEG should look like. And if you wanted to be able to edit it, you can edit JPEG images, don't get me wrong, but you don't get all of the flexibility of a RAW file. RAW files may look flat and you do have to edit them. But if you look at this picture from Cremorne Point, whilst it already looks like it's got lots of color in the sky, you can see it's quite flat, whereas when I was able to edit it and finish it, it looks a lot better, and I wouldn't have been able to do that with the JPEG because the JPEG is limited due to the lack of data that's in there compared to a RAW file. But if you do want to see how I edit my photos, I'll put a link in the description and put it up here as well to my editing workflow video. And I'll just say lastly, when it comes to shooting in RAW, that when you shoot in RAW, not only do you get more flexibility when editing it, but you also have more potential to print larger files out of it as well. Like the two images above me, I may have been able to get them editing a JPEG image, but I doubt it would have been as good a quality compared to editing my RAW image. And for that reason, I will always shoot in RAW. The camera will always shoot JPEG as well, but I will always edit the RAW files and never the JPEG files to be able to get a print ready. Or even just pictures that I'll put on these videos will also always be an edited RAW file, never just the JPEG file, just because I want that flexibility that you get with editing a RAW file that a JPEG file doesn't give you. Another tip when you're out taking photos is consider your foreground. When you're taking a picture of a landscape, and I've come across it many times, you'll always think, what does the background look like? How does the whole scene look? But you should also think what's at the very front of the image. What is going to draw your viewer's eye into the image and bring them into the whole scene as well. Like if you look at this one from Milk Beach that I was at last year, by changing the angle from landscape to portrait, I was able to get much more of the rocky foreground into the image than if I just kept it at landscape. So it gives you an idea of how the beach looks as you go from the shore to the water to Sydney Harbor to CBD. Or even this one from Bradley's Head, where you can see all the rocks along the foreshore that lead from amphitheater where we were placed taking photos, how it goes into Sydney Harbor and you see the surrounding suburbs. But by having that foreground, you're able to bring your viewer's eye into the scene and let them feel like they're actually there on location. This next tip is one that I always apply whenever I'm doing sunsets. I can't say I do it during sunrises because I never wake up in time for a sunrise. But if it's for sunrise, it's get there early, and if it's for sunsets, it's stay late. And I say that because whilst golden hour is one of the best times of the day to shoot, whether it's sunrise or sunset, blue hour is where you sometimes get some of the best light that you can imagine as well. If you're doing sunset shots and you wait just that 15 to 30 extra minutes after the sun has set, sometimes you get blessed with a much nicer color in the sky, or even just the gradient from the orange to the pink to the violet to the blue in the sunsets that you wouldn't otherwise have gotten if you thought, you know what, the sun has set, let's pack up and go. So by staying late if you're doing a sunset, or going early if you're doing a sunrise, and capturing the blue hour as well as the golden hour, you may walk away with more photos than you initially anticipated because you gave it that extra little bit of time just to hope and see if the light turns out the way you want it to. And it happens. Sometimes I get better photos after the sun has set compared to before the sun has set. And in relation to staying after sunset or going before sunrise, that leads into the next one quite well, which is research where you want to go and plan ahead. I've put together a video showing how I actually scout areas that I want to go take photos. I'll link that one down below for you as well. I use a myriad of tools from Google Maps to photo pills to the weather forecast to determine if I'm actually going to go out and take photos or not. But by planning ahead, you're much more prepared to be more successful in the photos you want to capture versus thinking, I'm just going to go take a photo today and let's see what I get. Initially, I didn't plan out my days so well whenever I wanted to go take photos, and I almost never walked away with the type of photo I wanted. And that's purely because I didn't plan for it. But by planning ahead, you give yourself a better chance of walking away with a photo you'll be happy with than thinking, well, I've just wasted 3 hours of my day. So plan ahead to make sure you give yourself the best chance possible. If you've stuck with me this far, don't worry, we're nearly there. I'll actually combine the next 2 tips for you because they are very similar to each other and you could combine them into one tip quite easily as well. And that is, don't always shoot eye level in landscape mode. Sometimes you'll get a better image shooting down low at ground level, or in the case of up here at Turmeda Beach, I had my tripod as fully extended as possible to be able to get that angle because any other way of capturing it just wouldn't have been safe. And if I stuck it to eye level, the image wouldn't have been as nice. But in saying that, you don't even just have to go eye level and landscape. You could go eye level in portrait mode or go high and low in portrait mode as well. Because like if you look here at Milk Beach, whilst in the landscape mode, yes, I was able to get some of the foreground in, but by changing it to portrait mode, you get much more of the foreground and all of Sydney Harbour and the sky in the shot as well, which wouldn't have been possible had I just stuck to landscape mode. Right, so by changing the height that you're shooting at and changing from landscape to portrait, it gives you much more potential to find not just a different image, but potentially an image you'd be happier with than just being landscape mode at eye level as well, or whatever your tripod's level is. And the last tip I've got for today, and it's possibly the most important one as well, and that's love the process. Because if you don't love everything there is when it comes to getting a photo, right, and that's, getting your gear ready, finding somewhere new to go, getting there, finding your compositions, walking around, and you're going to find reasons not to go out and take photos versus reasons to go out and take photos. I like getting my camera bag ready and making sure I've got it all. I like finding somewhere new to go and trying different compositions when I'm there because you never know what you're going to walk away with versus thinking, do I really want to go out and take a photo? So if you can learn to love the process, you'll be much happier when you're actually out taking photos, and it'll give you that motivation and desire to want to try different things with your camera when you're taking photos as well, versus just getting a camera, walking around and going click, coming back thinking, I'm not happy with any of these photos, why do I bother? All of it would be worth it because you'll walk out with an image you're happy with, just like I am with that one from Turmeda. And I know I've banged on about that picture a lot, but I really like it. And that's because I love everything that there is about photography. I love getting ready, I love finding somewhere new to go, and I love trying different compositions whilst I'm there and different angles, and then walking out with hopefully a decent image at the end of the day. Whereas I know if I didn't like any of that, I probably wouldn't be doing this. And I wouldn't be making any more videos for you guys either. So learn to love the process, because then everything that comes with it becomes a hobby that you'll enjoy doing and won't feel like a chore, and then your camera won't sit there collecting dust. So hope you liked today's video. If you did like the video, please do consider giving it a thumbs up. That will be greatly appreciated, and it does help out that YouTube algorithm quite a bit as well. And if you want to make sure that you stay up to date with future videos, don't forget to hit that subscribe button and tinkle that little bell to make sure you get a notification every time a new video comes out. If you do have any questions about any of the tips that I've got here, or any other questions at all, please leave me a comment down below and I'll get back to you as soon as I can. But I'll leave it there for today so I don't go off in 50 million directions as I have a tendency to do. And I'll see you in the next video. Have a good one.